Welcome to Mark D. Maker. Here we are in Ocean City, Maryland on the boardwalk, somewhere between 17th and 19th Street. And we're going to do a little carving using baseboard, just leftover free scrap. And we're going to be making some pumpkins. 3 pumpkins stacked. Usually this is just pine. This is what the cutout looks like. I've already taken a V-gouge to it a little bit there to define some lines. And this turns out to be some really tough wood. If I was at home, I would have probably found another piece of wood and started over. But since I'm on the road, I will do the best I can with what I have. So because this wood is so tough, I'll be taking little chips, small little chips out of it. Otherwise you could get some pretty big splits uncontrolled because of having to put so much pressure behind it. So small chips it is. So in the background there's my wife. She's doing watercolor. It's a new venture for her. I've done watercolor in the past, and I'm starting to dabble back into it again as well. It's September, late September. So it's a little cool, but absolutely beautiful day. Beautiful day here at Ocean City. So if you're in Ocean City, Maryland, take a drive up their main drag to Fenwick Island, Delaware, and check out the Seaside Country Store. They have all kinds of neat crafts and gifts and homemade fudge and just a bunch of really cool stuff. We enjoy it. I'll speed things up 2 times here, just so the video doesn't take too long and you're not just sitting there watching me hack away on the corners. When I get back home, I will use the Dremel on it, and it makes a big difference. It really speeds things along.
Good job, sir.
Thank you. And there's a little encouragement from a passerby, very friendly person. And you'll get that when you're in public doing a carving or a sketch or watercolor. People will approach you and talk to you in a friendly, kind way. It's always nice. Here I'm going back in with the V-gouge just to redefine the lines, smooth them out a little bit. They were really rough. And later on I found out why. But this helps them, smooths them out, makes them a little bit easier to carve. All right, I'm back home after the trip. It was a nice trip. Nice 4 days in Ocean City, Maryland. So, been working on this, and this wood has turned out to be really hard, and it's probably because it's so old. We moved into this house about 20 years ago, and I used this back then. So this wood is at least 20 years old. And I'm so disappointed. The little V-gouge that I was using. Let me see if I can get it up here. I'm not sure if you can see that, but it broke. The whole end of it, the left side of the V is gone from about here to the tip. So I know putting that angle on there is not the easiest thing to do. So I'm probably just going to grind that flat and then maybe ship it off to get it professionally, the taper or the grind professionally put back on that. Or I got a birthday coming up. I always wanted some dockyard tools, the miniature chisels. I may get some of those. So the thin blade does better in this really hard wood. But you can see the small chips that I'm taking, intentional. So I have the light coming from this direction, and so it really shows dark over here where it starts to wrap around. So I have to turn it a little bit to try to get the feel if I'm round enough for the look that I want to give it. Now, if you don't have a V-gouge, you simply go in with a straight cut first. Come straight down the middle. These have an arch to them, or a curve, because it's a round pumpkin. And then you're going to cut to one side and then cut to the other, so you're basically cutting your V with the straight blade. Then we'll go in there and sand it. Now the pumpkin not only is round this way, but it's round this way, so we want to kind of, it would be very difficult with a board this thin to carve much of an arch, but we want to give that illusion. So we're going to carve this intersection thin, this intersection thin, and we're going to carve this down to the back. So it wraps downward like this. You can see, man, that's tough. Now I'm not against going and getting my Dremel when I run across wood that's this tough. Especially pine that's this tough. Because as we know with pine, these dark streaks, they can get really hard. When they get old, the older they get, the harder they get. And so they can get pretty brutally hard. While we were in Ocean City, they were setting up all these big stages, and every day that we were there was a lot of construction going on, building the stages and getting ready for, I think it's called the Sunfest. Really big celebration, but the hurricane shut it all down. I don't know if they're going to reschedule or if they're just going to take all the stuff that they put up down. But they certainly went to a huge effort to do what they did. Okay, we're starting to get a little bit of a roundness down here. This is cutting across the end grain. And right, you can see that right there where that dark spot is. Oh, that's hard. You wouldn't get that in basswood, and that's why people like to carve basswood. But basswood does cost more than free scrap wood, so that's the trade-off. Carve down into the valley, from the hill down, from the hill down. If you try to carve back this way, it's going to split out, and the splits aren't always controllable. Sometimes they are, and you can use them to your advantage. The grain on this is fairly straight, but I don't trust it on a big split. There's another big dark spot right here to contend with. Small little tiny chips. When you hit that hardwood, the harder the wood, the smaller the chip. All right, I think I'm going to move to the Dremel tool next. I did carve all the stems with just an X-Acto. Well, actually with this guy. All right, we're out in the garage. We got the Dremel. Another one of these. We're going to make some dust. All right, so I took this to the Dremel just to speed up my sanding a little bit, and then used a little sandpaper on it. Still got a little cleanup in the very corners, but just about ready for paint. I might do a little bit more to that stem there, but close to being on our way to getting some paint on it. All right, so we got a little just cheap art store orange paint on here, green and grays on the stem. And now we're going to hit it with a little bit of Mod Podge. That's what's on these. You can see how nicely these came out. It's got a little bit of a sheen to it. It actually has a nice finish. So I figured I'd do the same here. These have a little bit of antique on them. I put a little bit on it and wiped it off. This is going to be a lot more bright. And then one of the other ones I'll do antique, and then we'll see how that comes out. Now this does go on, and it looks just like Elmer's glue. But, and in a sense it is, basically. So it'll dry clear. So no worries. You can get this in all different types of finishes. You can get it in a satin. This one is, what do we got? This one's satin. You can get it in gloss, high gloss, flat. And it's all around just a good sealer to seal the wood and the paint. We'll let it dry. There it is with its final coat of Mod Podge. Check out my Instagram to see how the other two came out. I'll have that linked below. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.